we have got a bit of news that is dropping this morning. Give me some breaking news, Sounder.
Breaking news from Fox Sports.
This is from Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN insider now, formerly of Yahoo Sports. Agent Rich Paul has notified the New Orleans Pelicans that All-NBA forward Anthony Davis has no intention of signing a contract extension if and when presented one, and that he has requested a trade. That is news that is from Rich Paul this morning. Davis could have signed a 5-year, $240 million contract extension this summer. He can become a free agent in the summer of 2020, so he still is under contract with the Pelicans for over another year. Rich Paul told Woj this. Anthony wants to be traded to a team that allows him the chance to win consistently and compete for a championship. Now, Danny G, the NBA trade deadline is February 7th. February 7th. So that would be, I'm pulling up the calendar. If he were going to be traded this year, that is Thursday of next week. So he would need to be traded by Thursday of next week if that were going to be in play. Again, you're just waking up this morning. There's no drama on the court in the NBA. All of the drama is off the court. But that is potentially, I mean, in theory,
future Laker.
In theory, if they were able, the Lakers really don't have anything to give for him, right? They just have cap room. They don't have a lot of assets that they could trade for Anthony Davis right now. I guess they could. You
could give him Brandon Ingram.
You could give future years of contracts, but also if you're the Pelicans, why would you want to trade him now in a hurry in the next 10 days when you could theoretically just sit back? He has to play for you not just this year but also next year. So I don't think that there's any particular rush. Now, obviously, the reason why this story is coming out right now is because they're trying to get him traded this year. And maybe that could end up happening between now and February 7th. But this is one of the big challenges, I think, if you are a fan of an NBA team, right? If your NBA team is a middle-of-the-road, non-major city, we'll see what Giannis ends up doing with Milwaukee. But by and large, you have just seen, and I know Russell Westbrook signed the extension with Oklahoma City and that they were able to keep Paul George. But what you've seen happen a lot is guys just decide to leave and don't allow, kind of the mid-major team. And mid-major may even be an exaggeration for New Orleans, which is a really small market franchise. But to have a guy as good as Anthony Davis, who's set to make $240 million over the next 5 years when he signs his extension, not be willing to stay there and to put it out like this, which I would imagine will look difficult. I mean, it's hard to believe that the fans in any way will support you once you have told them basically, "Hey, peace out. I'm done here." This is a messy situation. I mean, any early ideas on trades? You guys are out in L.A. You just mentioned, Danny G, the Brandon Ingram angle.
Yeah, because at this point, Ingram seems to be the Lakers' new D'Angelo Russell. Super inconsistent. And Laker fans are already kind of running out of patience with him. He was the untouchable guy there for a little while, according to Magic Johnson. But at this point in time, he could be a trade asset for the Lakers. Now, the one player Laker fans don't want to see moved seems to be Kuzma. So if you could keep Kuzma and move some other players like Ball, which, we still don't know who he's going to be in the NBA. He's shown some upside. He showed some promise, but he's also – the guy can't hit a free throw, Clay.
But the idea, so wherever LeBron goes, drama follows him. So the word was out that maybe he's not happy with Luke Walton. And this is a team, by the way, the Lakers right now, that is not in the playoffs. If the season were to end right now, LeBron has still not come back from his injury. But they do have some cap space. Now, The challenge here, again, is that if the New Orleans Pelicans want to play hardball, they don't have to do anything, because they've got Anthony Davis for the rest of this year under contract and all of next year as well. They don't want to lose an asset like Anthony Davis and get nothing in return for him. But are they going to be basically strong-armed into forced to trade him between now and February 7th. Who knows? Now, remember, this was a dramatic storyline in the NBA offseason, already in the NBA season. LeBron took him out to dinner and has been recruiting him, which in theory is a violation of NBA rules. LeBron kind of thumbed his nose at that idea. But, I mean, here's what I don't understand. Like, if Anthony Davis believes that LeBron has got 2 years left, let's say, at a high level, and who knows, LeBron obviously has this serious injury now, isn't he potentially just going to the Lakers and ending up on a team that doesn't have the ability to compete at a high level in a couple of years anyway, too? Now, I understand 100 billion% why it makes sense to LeBron James to try to bring in, Anthony Davis and try to win a championship in the next couple of years. I understand that completely. I understand why LeBron would be chasing Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson or whoever he could get to pull off of the Warriors. I don't understand why a younger guy would think it makes a lot of sense to go play with the Lakers right now, because LeBron James is a declining asset. Even as good as you might think LeBron James is he going to be great when he's 36 years old? Maybe. But he'd be the first great 36-year-old player in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, but if you're Anthony Davis, you have a way better chance of going to the NBA Finals with LeBron than you have with the Pelicans. So
there's no doubt for a year or two it could make sense, but I don't understand why he would want to sign.
It could extend LeBron for 4 years, probably.
I don't understand why he would want to sign a 5-year contract.
Those two together, Clay, that would extend LeBron for a little while.
I think LeBron at most has a couple of good years left. And you just look at the chart of
But yet Brady could play until he's 45, 46.
There's a big difference between playing quarterback in the NFL and playing in the NBA. There's never been
this one injury, though, to LeBron that he's been dealing with right now. It's his first significant injury.
Yeah, but think about Kobe. What did the Lakers do with Kobe? They gave him a ton of money.
Kobe had major injuries, though. LeBron's never had a major injury.
He fell apart. I'm just saying, the chances of LeBron being great as a 36-year-old, I think, are almost zero.
He's a freak of nature.
If you are buying into the idea, if you're Anthony Davis, I don't know that it makes sense to want to go somewhere like the Lakers. Now, are there other teams you could go join potentially that have better chances to win at a high level than the Pelicans? Potentially. But this is the big flaw that I think a lot of people point to in the current NBA, right? Everybody leaves. Nobody tries to stay at their current team and build them into champions. Everybody decides to leave. News breaking in the last 15 minutes or so from Adrian Wojnarowski. Let me go ahead and pull up everything that he has tweeted out. Again, if you're just waking up, the drama in the NBA never has to do with on the court, where my question leading into this last segment was whether or not they could win. The Warriors could. Every game remaining in their schedule, as well as in the playoffs, if there was $1 billion at stake. The on-court drama, not very substantial. The off-court drama, often very substantial. And here is the report. Rich Paul has notified, this is the agent of Anthony Davis, the New Orleans Pelicans, that Anthony Davis has no intention of signing a contract extension if and when presented with one, and that he has requested a trade. In the offseason, Davis could sign a 5-year, $240 million contract. He can become a free agent. Now, this is important. Not until the summer of 2020. So he's telling them he has no intention of re-upping with a year and a half, basically, still left on his contract. Rich Paul tells Adrian Wojnarowski on a preferred destination for Anthony Davis. Anthony wants to be traded to a team that allows him the chance to win consistently and compete for a championship. Now, my immediate reaction when I see this report is obviously, like a lot of you, to immediately turn to the recruitment of Anthony Davis that LeBron James was trying to do on behalf of the Lakers. My position here is first of all, what do the Lakers have to offer? Because the NBA trade deadline is February 7th. That's Thursday of next week. So there is, what is that, like an 8 or 9 day window, 10-day window where the Pelicans could theoretically trade Anthony Davis to a contender this year and try to get value for him. So the first question you have is, what kind of value can you unlock? The second thing, to me, if I'm Anthony Davis, what is LeBron now, 34?
Yeah.
I think LeBron is 34 years old, if I'm not mistaken. One of you guys can confirm that. He will turn 35 next season. I believe that's correct. I might be a year off on his age. So look that up, one of you guys, if you would. My argument is
December 30th is his birthday.
December 30th?
Yeah, so he just turned 34.
Just turned 34, but he'll turn 35 during next year's season. My argument is there's virtually no 36-year-old who is going to be dominant in the NBA. And if you are Anthony Davis, and you're signing a 5-year extension with somebody for $240 million, I'm not sure, as good as LeBron James is, that you're going to get more than a couple of years of high-level play from LeBron, and then you might find yourself also in handcuffs on this Laker team without a lot of great talent surrounding you. Now, does anybody else agree with me? I'll open it up that 36 years old and up, the odds of LeBron James being good. He's going to turn 35 next year, 36 years. I'm giving him 2 more years of elite caliber performance. Agree or disagree?
3 years at least, Clay, because he's a freak of nature. He's not your average 34-year-old. The guy plays like he's 28 still.
He's going to break down.
No.
I think if you are Anthony Davis,
he's going to come back rested right now, and you're going to watch him tear things up at the end of the season, and it's going to change your mind.
If you are Anthony Davis, I think you want to be – I totally understand if he doesn't think the Pelicans have an opportunity to win a championship, even though this is the number one criticism people have of the NBA right now, is that guys just leap and leave, and you create 2 or 3 or 4 good teams, and the other like 25 or 26 teams – that are in the NBA have no chance to win championships. And even if you're fortunate enough to get a really good player in the draft, they don't wait it out. They don't build into a championship contender with that team. They go ahead and bail at the first possible opportunity they get and go somewhere else. So I think this is a structural major issue that the NBA has in general, is that, look, we're down here at the Super Bowl right now. Anybody who makes the NFL playoffs can win a Super Bowl. 2 years ago, Jared Goff looked like crap, and the Rams looked like a disaster of an NFL franchise. They're firing Jeff Fisher. They're hiring Sean McVay. A couple of years later, and the Rams look like they might be on the verge of being really good for a long time to come. And in the meantime, they're in the Super Bowl. That can happen in baseball. It can happen in hockey. It can happen in football. It can't happen in the NBA. And so you can't go with building your team on all of your, building up a team. This idea that Anthony Davis is going to find guys. They lose DeMarcus Cousins. He goes and takes a $5 million deal with the Warriors, so they win the championship this year. And then Anthony Davis also walks away, and that franchise is going to be left with nothing. Why would you buy in again if you're a New Orleans Pelicans fan? This is like the worst nightmare that can be out there. So I understand the argument. All right, I understand the argument of why he wants to leave. I don't necessarily understand the argument of why committing yourself to a 34-year-old LeBron James makes a lot of sense. But we'll get to that in a minute. But what kind of trade could the Lakers make? You got one, Danny G.
Yeah, okay. So let's say, Clay, your Pelicans general manager, Dell Demps. So finally, a guy you can say you have better hair than.
I have no idea who Dell Demps is. Yes. I don't think there's what percentage of our audience right now knows who the GM of the New Orleans Pelicans is?
Probably 1%,
if that. Dell Demps. All right, I'm Dell Demps.
You're Dell Demps, and I'm Pelinka for the Lakers. I'm going to give you Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, a first-round draft pick, and cash considerations.
So first of all, I love the idea of Lonzo Ball getting shipped to New Orleans because I can't imagine what LeVar Ball would do. By the way, is LeVar Ball in LeBron James's basement in a gimp mask? He hasn't said a word this entire season. LeVar Ball, who couldn't shut up for 2 years basically, I think LeBron James has got him in a gimp mask in the basement of his $21 million L.A. home because he hasn't said a word since then. If his son gets shipped to the Pelicans out of his hometown of L.A., he's going to lose his mind. First of all, it's hard to say whether you make that trade or not because the next question becomes, is Anthony Davis also and his representatives saying, if you don't trade me where I want to go, then I will refuse to sign an extension with whoever you trade me to, which would turn his trade value into zero, right? We haven't gotten the next step. The first step is I want to be traded. The second step is if you trade me somewhere I don't want to go, then I will refuse to re-up with him, in which case why would anybody else take on this danger? Now, you can say, okay, well, they could do what the Raptors did with Kawhi, and you say we're going to get him in Toronto and we're going to convince him to re-up with us, or you could do what the Oklahoma City Thunder pulled off with Paul George, which is, hey, if we get him in here, we think we can convince him to re-up with us. That has worked for Paul George. Everybody thought that was an idiotic move at the time. Maybe you think you could do it for Anthony Davis, even if he doesn't want to be traded to you. But I think that's the challenge. First step is I want to be traded. Second step is I want to be traded, and I will only go to this team or that team, in which case then your ability to actually have any actual power diminishes. So you gave as a trade potential
Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, first-round draft pick.
1 first-round draft pick.
Yes.
Which will probably be a low-level first-round draft pick.
And if you need to even out the cash, they can do some cash to them. I mean, for the Lakers, that gives you Rondo, LeBron, Unibrow, Kuzma, and Zublaka. I would not move Kuzma if I was the Lakers. That's the one Laker that I would not move in the trade.